Welcome to the Dr. April Jasper Show, relevant conversations for business owners of today.
If you suffer from dry, scratchy, irritated eyes, the problem may actually stem from your eyelids. Cleansing eyelids daily is essential for maintaining healthy eyes, which is why doctors recommend OcuSoft Lid Scrub Allergy Eyelid Cleanser. New OcuSoft Lid Scrub Allergy removes oil, pollen, and other contaminants from your eyelids to effectively reduce redness, irritation, and itching caused by seasonal allergies. These pre-moistened wipes are easy to use, on the go, or at home. Simply wipe and leave on. As the industry standard of care, OcuSoft has a full line of eyelid cleansers for various conditions. Available through eye care professionals, most retail outlets, and Amazon.com. Visit OcuSoft.com for more details.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here to have a chance to talk to my good friend, Dr. Glenda Aleman. Glenda, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. We finally made it happen. Yeah. We've been trying to do this for a while. So thank you, April, for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. So we have been trying for a while. It's tough because you are so busy. You have multiple locations. You have multiple children. And you have multiple jobs. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I practice in Pembroke Pines, Florida, and Miami. So I have two very different modes of practice. One is a retail setting. So I have my first practice in Walmart, where we do comprehensive care, but we have a big emphasis on myopia control.
Wow.
And from there, I actually was getting really busy with the myopia management that I ended up opening a private office that is dedicated to myopia management.
That is so cool. So how far from one to the other? How far is it to the private office?
So the Walmart is in Hialeah. The private office is in Pembroke Pines. So we are about 35 minutes apart.
Okay. I'm glad you said minutes because miles really don't matter. Right. Traffic is awful.
Exactly.
Well, let's back up a little further. I know your story, and that's one reason I want you on this show, because this show is all about being inspirational, helping people to see that they can do anything they want to do with their life, and the career that they've chosen is awesome. So let's back up to when did you decide and how that you wanted to be an optometrist?
So I decided that I wanted to be an optometrist. Specifically, I was working at a Walmart in Delray Beach, and I had a patient. I did a vision screening, and the patient said, I'm ready, let's go do the exam. And so I walked him over to the vision center, and I said, okay, have a seat, the doctor is gonna be with you shortly. And then he looked at me and he's like, what do you mean? You're not the doctor?
Oh.
And I was like, no, I'm just the vision center manager. So then he looked at me and he's like, well, why not? Oh. And I still get chills when he says that. And he was like, you're young and smart and you have a great personality, and that's the only reason why I wanted to do an eye exam.
Wow.
With you.
And so you had already been married and had children by then, right?
Right. So at that point I was single. I was coming out of a bad divorce that went on for a while, and I was not in school. I was working as a vision center manager in Walmart. So when he said that, realistically, a single mom with 3 kids, very young at that time, realistically speaking, I couldn't go straight to Nova, although I did. Right. I walked into Nova and I said,
oh my goodness.
I walked in and I was like, I'm here, I want to be an eye doctor. And
wow.
They're like, oh, where did you do your undergrad? And I was like, undergrad? What is that? Like,
no way.
I didn't go to school here, so I didn't know what undergrad meant.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, well, you're going to need to do about 4 years of school before you can actually become an optometrist. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll be back.
That's incredible.
So
was Nova at the same location then that they are now when you went in and had that conversation?
Yes, it was. And as you know, because you're from South Florida, Broward College is in the backyard of Nova.
That's right.
So I left Nova that same day. I drove over to Broward College, and I became a Broward College student that day.
Holy cow. So here you are, working a full-time job, 3 children, going through a not-so-nice divorce, not on your part, of course, because look at you, you're amazing. And now you've decided you're going to go to college. Did it take you 4 years to get through the 4-year program?
It took me a little bit longer because, after going to Nova and finding out all the requirements to become an optometrist, I realized I would have to step down from my position as a manager.
Oh, wow.
To become an optician was a more feasible option at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
I went to school to become an optician
Wow,
first.
incredible.
Because with 3
That's
kids,
smart.
if I stepped down as a manager without any degree, I would be making, at that time, I think it was like $9 an hour.
Yeah, that would not have worked.
So I figured, okay, if I become an optician first, back then opticians were making about $20 an hour. I figured I could work less, keep about the same
Make the
amount
same
that I was
money.
making, and focus on school. So that was my
Unreal.
journey.
Okay, so then how many years are we talking? 2 years for that, and then 4 years for school?
So 2 years for opticianry,
Yeah.
and then it took me about 3
Yeah.
to get my prerequisites, and then I went to Nova.
Wow. All right. Did you at any point along the way, tell the truth, Glenda, did you at any point along the way say, I just can't do this?
Oh yes, of course.
Once?
More than once. And I think when we have those difficult decisions or where it's tough and we're trying to give up, we always have somebody that we call, right?
Yes,
And we're
yes.
looking for that,
Oh.
that push, like, yes, somebody to validate your decision.
Yeah.
And I called one of my previous opticians,
Wow.
I hopefully he hears this because I don't think I
Yes.
ever shared that before. And I called him hoping that he would tell me, yeah, Glenda, give up, just quit, it's too hard.
You wanted to let him help you give up.
Right. And I called him and he was like, Glenda, no, you're not giving up. You gotta keep going.
Oh my goodness.
So that that part of I never shared before, but yes, there was a point where and I'm gonna share this because
should.
somebody might be on this position, as I had failed chemistry. And I was like, that's it. Like, and I see that a lot, that,
Yep.
a lot of kids
Oh,
get
you mean
detoured
they have
because
one event like that and they end it?
Exactly. They give up their whole career because they failed one class.
Failure.
So,
What did you do?
So after talking to Hong and he didn't let me give up, he shared with me how much money he had made that day.
Yep.
So he was like, that's your motivation, Glenda, think about it.
Oh my goodness.
So I continue, and I took, because of that, I actually chemistry became my strength.
Oh, which is good because optometry school, those are some of the hardest classes.
Right.
I could not think chemistry. Like, it was not what came to my mind and made sense. Other classes, math, I could do that. That made a whole lot of sense to me. Biology, chemistry
I love bio. Yes.
is tough.
Bio is awesome.
And now you can
So
explain
yes.
all those chemistry answers and questions to me. All right, so let's keep going. 2 years you became an optician, 3 years to get your undergrad degree and get all that stuff done, and then take your OAT exam to qualify for optometry school.
Right.
So if anybody's listening to this that wants to be an optometrist and you think it's too hard, it's not easy, but nothing is too difficult, right?
Right. So if my story helps inspire anyone, I really hope that it does, because as I mentioned, I had 3 children. Then, of course, then that time I was young, I met somebody, started dating. By the time I went to optometry school, I was up to 4 kids. And then I got married, and when I was in my second year of optometry school, had my baby during optometry school. I was literally in labor during optics and pharmacology too. So
Oh my goodness. So you left class to go have a baby.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, wow. So now you finish, and were you with Walmart the whole time?
I was with Walmart the whole time. When I got into Nova, I went to give my resignation letter to my boss at Walmart, and he was like, no, I'm not gonna let you do that.
Wow.
He was like, you're right here, we're in your backyard, so he's like, just stay with us and work, whenever you can, and don't hold me to that. I mean, they did that for me.
Yeah, you're not saying they'll do it for everybody, but I do agree. You were pretty special.
But back then, it was a lot more lenient, so
Yeah.
to hold me accountable for that. But yes, they did that, and I'm very grateful to him, to Eddie Chavez. And as a matter of fact, full circle, I just talked to somebody, a recent grad from Walmart, from Nova, that is signing up to get a Walmart D's.
Oh, wow.
And my boss, that said don't leave, he asked me to become her mentor. So, it's just a really cool thing to do.
I thought what you were going to say is you just recently spoke to the incoming class at Nova of optometry students, which you did.
I did.
One of the students is my daughter.
I know.
And I don't know who figured it out, but it was pretty incredible.
She did. She did. So that is amazing, because I go to Nova at least twice a year to speak to the students, either to talk to them about how it is to have a lease in Walmart or to talk to them about the importance of myopia management.
Oh, that's right. We have to get to that.
The thing that I love to do. And every so often I meet someone and they said, a lot of times we don't think the words that we're saying, it's making any impact on anyone.
Right.
And it's just, it really I get a little emotional because when I meet someone and they said, there was something that you said that inspired me, or I really needed to hear this today. Those things are, to me, is like dear to my heart. To be able to say something and motivate somebody.
We are excited to have CooperVision as a sponsor of our podcast. CooperVision is one of the world's leading contact lens manufacturers, and they serve eye care professionals and patients in over 130 countries. Their innovative products help millions of patients see every single day. One of the technologies and innovations that we love the most about CooperVision is their groundbreaking technology in soft contact lenses that helps to slow the progression of myopia in children 8 to 12 years old at the initiation of treatment. That's right. Well, one of the things you also, so let's keep going because your story still is, none of our stories are over, but your story continues to even just be more inspiring. So you finished optometry school. You then had your practice inside Walmart. Did you go to the same location that you were the manager of? Is that where you worked? Okay.
I wish. That would have been a dream.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, by the time I graduated, that location, the doctor that I used to work with, Dr. Van, had already transitioned into getting her own practice, and she had transferred the lease to someone else. So yes, darn it, but I got this wonderful Walmart location that it was kind of like a stepchild nobody wanted. A lot of people warned me, don't go there.
And you made it amazing.
To turn it around, So I think the bigger the challenge, the greater the satisfaction. You can overcome that.
You said, "Are you kidding? I failed chemistry and came back, and look at me now."
Right.
That's a story. It's a good story. It's never anything I think to be discouraged by, but when we're in it, we can't see past it. Don't you agree?
Definitely. Yeah. I think it's, looking back at the things that I did, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I remember being in that position and calling my friend to hopefully have him tell me, yeah, you can stop
just
now,
quit.
And, just quit. And it's really hard sometimes to see what's coming.
It is.
But
well, how did it end up then that you opened a separate practice for myopia control?
So because I am in a Walmart setting and, I want to be a very good business partner and also give the best care to my patients.
Yep.
As I grew in the myopia space and I got better established, I was actually getting a lot of referrals from my friends.
Wow,
And
that's really cool.
So when I was just doing myopia management with my patients in Walmart, it's okay, it's manageable. But when I was getting a lot of referrals, it was really not flowing well.
And it's not fair to Walmart either.
Exactly.
It's truly not their business plan.
Exactly.
And
So
that's okay.
getting referrals into the Walmart, I figured that was a little bit crossing the boundaries. So I decided to open a second location.
Brilliant.
Which, was very scary at the time because I decided to open a myopia management, a specific practice, which
Just
was
for that.
referral-based only, not
Wow.
even a primary pediatrics.
Oh man, that's incredible.
So looking back, I'm like, Oh, what's wrong?
Yeah. How
I
long
don't know
have you
what I
had
was
that?
thinking. So I opened it right in the middle of COVID.
Okay.
So it's been 3 years now.
Awesome. Do you need less space for a location like that, do you think?
You do, because my business model is unique in the sense that we work by appointments only. And when specifically are doing myopia control and specialty contact lenses, I don't have to have a huge room for a dispensary.
Right.
It just really minimizes the overhead and also the real estate. Like you can do a lot with a very small space.
Yep. So tell us as little or as much as you want to about this, Glenda. I don't want to put you on the spot. And I warned you I would ask and you could just go where you felt led. But there was a lot of challenge in your life that could have kept you from this other than failing chemistry. Is there any of that you want to share and how you made it through that?
Yes,
I failed something too. So that's why I giggle, because I will tell you, one of the things I failed was my first checkout of measuring IOP. You know, we had to measure it on each other. Right. So another optometry student. And I don't know what that person's problem was. I don't even know to this day who my patient was. But I went to do tonometry, and this patient starts crying, like tears running down their eye and then down their face. And it's impossible to do it then. And they only give you one chance.
Right.
So I go in not knowing, why don't you just take a minute? And I could not get a measurement. And I failed. And you know how, like, it's a silly thing. Right. But I felt like I should quit right then, because if I can't take a measurement, then I'm an utter failure.
Oh my gosh.
I almost wasn't here either.
What? Imagine that. And you're so wonderful and inspiring.
All right, but I gave you time to think about it.
Thank you. So I think it is important that I share that, because I hope that I can inspire somebody. Yes. And I just had an experience with someone very close to me that basically when I moved to the U.S., I was married, but I was not in a very good situation. I was in a situation of domestic violence. I literally held on to these $30 that somebody gave me, which were, my escape route. And I held on. I mean, I had my baby. I had to take a taxi to the hospital by myself. And I had those $30. And I remember that those $30 were untouchable. Yeah. They were reserved because it was like a safety issue. So I remember sleeping on the floor in the hospital when I had my baby.
Not in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
The U.S., okay.
Yes, because I had no insurance and nobody to, support me.
Yep.
So my back then husband, father of my child, would not go to the hospital because he didn't want to be responsible for the hospital bill. So, and I remember that I had, besides the $30, I had $1 and going down to the McDonald's in the hospital, in Broward Hospital, and getting, back then, thank God, we had 99-cent burgers. So that's what I had. Gosh. And after that, my kids are really my inspiration, because I had my kids at that time. I had 2 babies, and the situation was so bad that they gave me the courage to get out of the situation, because I didn't want them to go through that. No child should go through that. And this is very emotional for me, but I think it's important to share, because there might be someone else that could be in that situation. Yep. And
they think they have no choice, and they think they have no hope. And they may not even have the $30, you know?
Exactly.
So what happened? You're laying on the hospital floor.
So that passed, because I had to, you're like in the US, you don't sleep on the floor in the hospital, but that's because if you have a normal birth and your baby is okay, you're released after 2-3 days. But my baby was born with bilirubin, something. They had jaundice. To keep him jaundice, so they had to keep him a little bit longer. And since I was not, in that critical phase anymore,
they didn't care about you.
They didn't care about me. It was just the babies can stay, but you need to clear the room. So that was the situation with that.
Oh my gosh.
But, that only gave me courage. So it's like, after that, anything is like cake. Yeah. It's like, what is, going to optometry school and taking 24 credits.
Oh my gosh.
So that's, sorry.
Wow. No, I knew you'd make me cry. I was ready for it, but it's just incredible what you've done.
And any situation when you're in a domestic violence situation is not easy.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. It's very easy for anyone on the outside to say, well,
Why didn't you get out?
And so, have been in that situation. That's something that I don't go around walking around and saying I was in this situation, but I was just sharing with you earlier that I'm okay with sharing that because I realized that somebody really close to me right now had just shared that she's in a similar situation, and she actually, made the move, called the police, and she said that, she was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, don't feel sorry for me. She's like, I feel stronger than ever. She's like, I feel empowered. And, she was like, that first step makes me feel so good. And she said, I'm doing this for my daughter because I don't want my daughter to think that this is okay. Yeah. So that's why today I'm okay with sharing that because, hopefully, and a lot of times we don't think about it, but it could be one of us very
Somebody
successful,
Yep.
or even one of us here in this conference who is you can look like you're doing amazing, like you're successful, and be in a very bad situation at home.
Yeah, it's important. I think it's important that people know that although you're doing great today and, everything looks like it's going well, we never know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And we need to know that we're not the only one and we can support each other and continue to be successful. And if you think about it, I just asked Dr. Andrew Lee, he's speaking here at the conference as well. He's a neuro-ophthalmologist, and I asked him, through all of his career, did he ever have anything come up that made him feel like he couldn't continue? And just like you, he said, oh yeah, plenty of things. But I look at those walls, let me see if I forget, you guys help me. I look at those walls as somebody else's wall to keep them out, not to keep me in. And I just thought it was incredible. He says, if anybody tells you they haven't ever failed at something, they're lying.
Right.
You can't
I
be
agree with
successful
that
and not have
100%.
failed at something.
Yes. So, but to close out, I guess the biggest satisfaction that I have now is what we were having Thanksgiving dinner with my kids, and my son, saying, wow, Mom, like, he's, because now they're adults, young adults, and they're starting to work and they're in school.
Yeah.
And he's like, how did you do it?
Wow.
He was like, how did you make it happen for us? Like, we always, with the little bit that I had, gave them my best.
Yes.
And it's just a beautiful thing to now see your kids looking back, and now they're saying, wow, I'm so proud of you, and how did you do it all?
That's why you did it. It wasn't, and you started out sort of doing this for your children, but then it became, now not only are you blessing your children, but also blessing your patients and your colleagues. Isn't that incredible?
It is, yeah. It's I get so much satisfaction of doing this, and I love my patients, every single one of them.
Are you glad you're an optometrist?
Oh, absolutely. If it was up to me, every person, even like I have a patient who she's like, Dr. Aleman, this is amazing. And I'm like, well, why don't you do this? So
I love it.
If it was up to me, everybody will be either an optician or optometrist.
Exactly.
I love this field.
So any last words for our viewers, our listeners, our audience? This is all about inspiration, and you've been inspirational enough already, but anything you want to leave them with?
So I think if you have someone in your life that has inspired you or touched your life in a good or even in a bad way, I think it's important to go, well, not to the bad ones, but the good ones. Go back to them and let them know, because, there has been so many people in my career throughout my life that have helped me. Like the lady who gave me the $30. I don't know her name. She was actually a friend of my then husband.
Yep.
And, she doesn't know how that affected me, and it gave me hope.
Wow.
Or the patient that asked me, well, why aren't you the doctor?
doctor?
So I like to share that and tell people, like, pay it forward.
Yes.
And also, if you have the opportunity to go back to someone and say, thank you, thank you, April, for this opportunity, for allowing me to share a very different side of my story that, somehow you make me very comfortable sharing it. And so I do want to thank you for that, because
yes.
hopefully we're, able to touch someone's life.
Yes, it will. It's a story that people will hear, and they will know that they too can make a difference, and it's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to be aware of the fact that you're not doing what you do just for you. What you're doing impacts so many. So thank you for sharing, Glenda. I appreciate you so much.
Your eyes and your vision are under attack. Damaging blue light from the sun, your phone, your computer, your tablet, even light bulbs and car headlights is constantly bombarding you. The good news is our eyes actually already have a line of defense to counter the effects of blue light. This defense is made up of 3 pigments called carotenoids. MacuHealth with Micromicelle, the only supplement with the exclusive patent on all 3 macular carotenoids and micromicelle technology.